One of the things that moves the needle the most at our agency is something that never was done and we never did.
Corporate media pushing people to go back into the office because I came to a, fork in the road where it's like, do I keep making them rich? They already have a house in Park City. Or do I do my own thing because there was no partnership path?
Let me ask you a question, Tony, because one of the things that we found is one of the things that moves the needle the most at our agency is something that never was done and we never did until now we do. And now we can't even imagine life without it, which is having a sales meeting every single morning, first thing. And I can tell you that our results have, I'd say 10x since before we did that.
I agree that you probably should be doing that. Agreed.
Yeah.
But for how do you keep that meeting from just being, like you guys didn't sell enough last week kind of thing?
No. Yeah. So we don't do that. Like not your traditional, like here's the list of what you guys all suck, go get them, right? No, it's concept, it's call review, like there's a format, right? So we play a tape, listen to the call, right? And a good call, a bad call, a call that we sold, a call that we didn't sell, whatever, right? We'll always have something that's going to keep them engaged. And you're right, especially with millennials, is constantly switching it up. Because if you do the same thing every single time, forget it, right?
And I think sharing about an individual person. So like that's one thing that has worked incredibly well in our agency is to like actually have people talk about real life. Maybe they're in a bad mood because, their mom died last week. Just like, I'm just saying like, there's so many reasons like, oh, he's married, he's got a kid. And yeah.
I agree. You have to have that personal piece. I'm going to go out of my way to say it.
Would you say there's been a dearth of remote talk?
In this particular conversation?
Yeah, dearth.
Not in the general environment. In this particular conversation.
There's a super abundance.
Yeah, of course. And most of it is wrong. In my opinion, most of it is quite simply corporate media pushing people to go back into the office because they're trying to save commercial real estate. There is no saving real estate. And let me put it this way, I'll put it on video. I've said it before, but I'll put it on video. Not a single carrier or broker is going to win the RTO fight. It's that simple. Quite simply, if you force your people back into the office, your better people are going to leave if they want to be remote or if they only want to be in the office when they feel like it. And they're just not going to have a hard time finding opportunities because it's going to go industry by industry. It's a matter of supply and demand. We have more jobs that require insurance experience than we have people with the experience for that. And all the insurtechs that are remote friendly, almost all of them, arbitraging talent, basically. So basically, especially if you're an agency in rural America and you've benefited from really cheap labor for a long time, forget it. Your people are now worth a lot of money. And however much they love you, when I call them, offering them 80 grand a year when they've been making 45 and letting them be remote when they've been commuting 45 minutes, you're just not going to be able to keep them.
Yeah. We talked about scarcity before. The older agent, no offense to my peers that are just slightly older than me, but that this mentality, and I came into it too, like pay as little as possible because it's a sales job, right? This is where I came from. And so I was thinking from my own perspective, not from the employee's perspective.
I have to ask.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, the salary, right? So the salary being higher, what I've noticed is that there is a sweet spot and it's market driven, right? So if you're in maybe remote, that's going to change. All things are out the window. But if we are talking in office, in Tucson, well, the base is probably going to be less than in office in Huntington Beach, right? That's just the way that it is.
Absolutely.
However, where I find in my market, the base is somewhere between 2,500 and 3,500. If I open at 4 to 4,500, now we're talking about a different situation, right? Now people are willing to listen. And then you start getting up higher. I guess where I'm going with this and the question that's going to present is there is a cutoff, right? Where you said once they make a certain amount, no amount of money is going to create more output. So there has to be something that drives more output, but at the same time, they're happy and they're not going to leave when Tony calls. So where is that place?
For producers.
Yeah, not talking producers only. That's all at this moment. Yeah.
For producers, you're trying to find the few that are very money motivated. Now, they're going to be more work-life balance focused than your boomer producers were, but you're trying to find the few that are very money motivated. Okay. And yes, I agree. Pay them enough so that they're not worried about money during business hours, but not so much that they're driving a Tesla and not worried about selling, right? Yeah, what that number is locally, hard to say. Also, what about a path to partnership? The one time I was actually tempted to become a producer was an agency in Northern California that I interviewed with. And basically they said, we've had 15 people over the last 5 years start as the very entry level of being a producer, follow the path, and 13 of them are partners today. All you have to do is follow what we tell you. Here's the book telling you everything you need to do, hit the milestones, and you'll be a partner. You'll have ownership in the business. That's one way to do it. Okay. Another very interesting model, a very large commercial lines agency in Mississippi. I used to be their Liberty underwriter. They are an ESOP. They're an employee-owned company now that the founder retired. And when a producer validates, there's a vote. Every employee votes, and basically you have to survive the vote to be able to stay on partnership path. If you don't survive the vote, you'll never be able to become a partner. And,
there's no like new hearing in 2 years or something?
And the vote, every employee has one vote. And if you think about it, in a large agency, there are more service people than there are producers.
Ooh, yeah.
Service people don't like you. Basically, no a-hole producers. Because if the service people don't like you, you will get voted off the island when you validate.
Yeah.
Right? So
that is very interesting.
Right? There are several interesting models out there if you talk to people, if you look around. I especially like the employee ownership one because that is one way to get me to care. It'll give me a partnership path. I've been a recruiter for the last 5 years within insurance. My last company, amazing company, but the two owners who inherited from their dad and who have grown it massively after their dad retired are the only partners. There's no path to partnership, right? So it got to the point, even though I'm not money motivated, I wanted to own my own destiny.
Is that the glove box guys you're talking about?
No, recruiting agency.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So there was no partnership path. So even though things were going really well, I came to a fork in the road where it's like, do I keep making them rich? They already have a house in Park City. Or do I do my own thing because there was no partnership path?
Right.
Interesting. The challenge, like the issue with the partnership path is like what's their skin in the game? Like they have no risk, but they're getting reward.
It's a very good question. Yeah, no idea.
Yeah.
I like it if it's like we are for captive carriers, which do not like this conversation. We're just not allowed, right? We're not allowed to have any ownership, have ownership in others and they can't have it in ours. But I do like the idea, I think a really cool business model for an agency that is an independent agency is teach them how to fish and then fund their agency and become a partner with them with your system and have them open their own agencies. You can do that all over. I mean, that's essentially like a franchise type model, but it's even better because, it's that partnership.
Love it.